every customer who has SharePoint Server needs to immediately pay attention to important news that came out from Microsoft about a series of recent attacks. These attacks can affect any SharePoint server, but are in particular been patched and addressed within SharePoint Server Subscription Edition, SharePoint 2019, and SharePoint 2016. The reason it's been addressed in those is because they are all still within the extended support window. 2016 and 2019 expire extended support in 2026 in July, about a year from the recording of this video and the attacks. This risk, like many others before it, is a risk that is focused on SharePoint servers because they have high privilege and they have a lot of value within organizations as an attack footprint. There's exfiltration opportunities with the data. There's a lot of reasons that they are a target, and they will continue to be a target. This will not be the only type of attack like this that occurs where there's security patching or addresses that need to be made. So it's really important to understand that if you can move to the cloud, it helps. But even more important is that if you have a version of SharePoint like 2003, 2007, 2010, 2013, those versions are not in extended support. And so this is a risk that is prevalent and still there for these environments because there is no security patch or update. So again, if you have a version of SharePoint, this is a great opportunity to harden them, secure them, take time to make sure you understand what occurred and how to patch it, and then work aggressively towards a faster migration or modernization strategy. Let's talk about what happened in a little bit more detail. You'll see here, this is Microsoft's article specifically about this, and this is the best resource you have to go and reference and understand what took place and what to do about it. As I mentioned earlier, there are a few things that you need to do. The first thing I just want to address is that it was timed where it took over a day and a half or almost 2 days for SharePoint 2016 to be updated, to have a security update that prevents this type of risk in the future. It's important to understand that because there is a sequencing in terms of patching and updates that does occur, and Microsoft works very hard. This was an incredible Herculean effort on their part to get these updates in place, but they had to happen, and it takes time to get those updates out. So even getting off of, say, 2016 or something like those older versions of SharePoint is still a good idea. Let's talk about what Microsoft's recommending. There are a few key items to understand. One, all updates for any environment of SharePoint should be continual. You should be looking at when the latest update comes out and immediately trying to patch and update your environments as fast as you can. This is especially true for security patches. There are 3 security update links for SharePoint Server for each of the versions that I've just mentioned that are in support window. But again, if you have a previous version of SharePoint, these will not be included. Below that, you can see that there are particular actions that people should take. To understand if you have been compromised, there's a particular file you can look for within the environment, and that file can help you understand if that particular environment has been affected by it. So there's a number of different things down here as we get a little bit further down to help you understand if this might have occurred in your environment and how to address the risk. In addition to that, all of these things are things you actually should do on a regular basis regardless. So if this is an opportunity to security harden your SharePoint Server editions, then take it. Take your opportunity not just to migrate, modernize, but deploy the latest updates and ensure that you have a continual rhythm to ensure that those are updated regularly as soon as they're available. Deploy Microsoft Defender, great idea for endpoint protection. That way, these types of threat solutions that do occur can be detected or even addressed before they become damaging or high risk. And using AMSI or having something like Defender antivirus together is going to give you additional levels of protection and also should be deployed to all of these environments. Lastly, you need to rotate your service accounts and you need to rotate your ASP.NET keys. And doing this will help protect your environment from these kinds of risks. It's a great idea to do this anyways if you have an on-prem environment, because these are security posture techniques that you should be doing. Not just that, but having, of course, least privilege and other types of risks that make any type of compromise potentially less impactful or harder for the attacker to get the kind of impact and longevity that a lot of these attacks can have. So let's summarize whirlwind of information in a few ways. Number one, you're not alone. When you're working through these types of challenges, you've got Microsoft, you are in extended support, you can reach out to them for support and help. Number two, there are partners, so many partners that understand how these SharePoint Server environments can be at risk, how to do forensic analysis to understand what might have occurred if your environment was compromised and what actions to take. And of course, there are partners like ShareGate and others that help organizations migrate, modernize, and even assess their environments so that they can move to SharePoint Server Subscription Edition or SharePoint Online and Microsoft 365 faster. The third thing to take away is that not only are you not alone, this is a good opportunity where we can take something that's really scary, potentially maybe even damaging, and turn it into something at least a little positive. That we can reduce our legacy footprint, reduce our continued vulnerabilities and exposure by moving to the cloud with whatever workloads or content we can. I'm not saying you have to move everything. Maybe you have a SharePoint Server subscription edition with some hybrid workloads, but even that would be more contained with less risk exposure because there'd be less data on it, and that a lot of the data that can move to the cloud, you've already moved to the cloud. So again, hybrid or a transition to the cloud is something we still strongly recommend. Microsoft recommends, ShareGate recommends, the industry recommends, but there's lots of reasons people still want control of the server. And in that circumstance, SharePoint Server Subscription Edition is the place to be, where it'll continue to be supported after 2026 in July, the anniversary of this particular set of attacks. When that occurs, you will have to be on that version. Otherwise, these types of risks are going to affect your environment and potentially compromise your organization. I hope this has been helpful. I hope it's been educational, and I hope it makes you feel at least a little bit more, if you do run, manage, or support these types of SharePoint Server environments, that you're not alone. We've got this, and let's get you either to the cloud or to SharePoint Server Subscription Edition faster. And for those that are addressing these risks, again, if there's anything we can do to help, we're here for you. Bye for now.